Wednesday, January the 26th. Lake level, I just tried to pull it up and the core sight is apparently down, but I was out a couple days ago and it was 914 and a half. About 6 inches below normal winter power pool. Before I get into the fishing, I want to let you all know that the Extreme Outdoors is having another tackle swap meet this coming weekend. It'll be Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 5 on Saturday and 8 to 3 on Sunday. And they did this about 4 or 5 months ago, and it was an awesome swap meet, or not so much a swap meet, but a bunch of people rented tables and brought a bunch of product in there to sell, and it's free admission. And there was a little bit of everything. There was power poles, trolling motors, fish finders, tackle, all kinds of crankbaits, plastics, rods, reels. There was a little bit of everything to do with fishing or boating. And there was some good deals to be had. I actually sold quite a bit of stuff, but I think I bought more than what I sold. There was so many good deals there. But if you get a chance, you need to get out there. It's going to be a little chilly to fish probably, so be a good time to go there, hang out, and buy some tackle for the coming year. But there was, a lot of bags of plastics, $1 a bag. You couldn't hardly beat the prices. Just all kinds of different products. But as far as the fishing, I've only been fishing a couple times. It's been pretty cold out there, and I've had some construction work I've been trying to get done for the fishing season. But, the water temperature, the other day I drove over Flat Creek, on the Flat Creek Bridge, and it was iced over. That was Saturday. But I fished Monday down lake, down around Indian Point. The water was pretty warm, for middle of the winter. It was still 49 degrees. I actually caught some fish on a rock crawler. I caught a few on a jerkbait and an Alabama rig. It wasn't fast and furious, but, no more than I had been out. I was surprised to see how shallow some of the fish were on the crankbait. And what I was throwing was a rock crawler. There's several other baits that'll work. A wiggle water work, like a little Strike King 3X will work. But I've got a lot of confidence in the Spro rock crawler. And the one I caught them on was the Stone Cold. But there's a lot of other ones that'll work. One of my favorite ones to throw, especially as we get more towards the spring, I think the crawdads get a lot of red in them, and I like something with red in it. This red craw with a green back, you can see it's all kind of beat up. That's probably one of my favorite baits, especially in the really clear water. If I get into some off-colored water, I like one with a little bit of chartreuse. But most of these fish were on, transition banks, not so much gravel, but I had to have bigger rock where I had a pretty good drop, but not a flat bank, almost a 45-degree bank with some mixed ledge rock and gravel mixed in with it. Seemed to be the areas I caught the crankbait fish. I hadn't been doing any deep fishing. Like I said, in a couple times I've been out, I've only been out for, 4 or 5 hours at a time. So I hadn't been out there. I did idle around some, and the places that the shad were for me a month ago seemed to be gone. I didn't see too much bait any of the places that I was fishing, even where I was getting bit on the crankbait and a jerkbait. I seen a few bait, a few shad, but no big schools like it was a month ago. But the Alabama rig, I was throwing, one with blades, and usually I just kind of mix it up. If there's 2 of us in the boat, I'll have one person throw one without blades and one with blades. A lot of times I think if it's cloudy or the water's got color to it, I think the blades help out a little bit, helps the fish find it a little bit better. But I'm throwing 1/8 ounce heads, I'm throwing, Pro Swimmer, big bite swim baits. I'm kind of mixing up the size. I've got a couple 2.8s on the dummies and the 3.3s on the bigger ones. But the A-rig fish I caught were along the side of deep docks, and I could actually see them out there on the Garmin Live Scope. They were suspended down about 10 feet The docks I caught them off of, it was 40 feet deep there, but I was just running the A-rig, down the shaded side of the boat docks. And I caught a couple largemouth doing that. And the jerkbait fish seemed to be on main lake bluff end points. I couldn't get any bites, back into creeks. Crankbait fish I caught were in the creeks, but I couldn't get a jerkbait bite like out of submerged cedars or on secondary points. I had to go out to the main lake on the bluff ends, something where I had real deep water close by. I was throwing it up on the bluff end points where it was about 15 to 20 foot deep. And a lot of those fish, I couldn't really see them out there. I think they were just coming up off the bottom. But, other than that, I hadn't been doing a lot of fishing because it's been so cold. It looks like it's going to warm up a little bit. Each day it's been warming up around noontime. But I think a guy can still go out and have a good day on a crankbait, fish relatively shallow. The next couple weeks, if them deep fish haven't already started to move, it seems like about mid-February, a lot of them fish that have been out there deep start moving a little bit closer to the bank. They still might be in deep water, but they'll start to suspend a little bit closer to like spawning areas, spawning pockets. Like I said, they're still going to be out over the deep water, but they'll start getting higher in the water column and starting to move back onto some of these main lake and secondary points where the Alabama rig and the jerkbait bite and a little swim bait bite ought to start getting a little bit better. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.